Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline. I wanted to do a quick update. I am doing quite well. Life's good. It's right before Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone has a fantastic holiday. I hope everything's been well. I hope everyone's been safe. Um, yeah, I things have been pretty good with me, as good as they can be. The salon is still busy. We are dealing with everything that's coming with 2020 and so on and so forth. So, other than that, things are pretty good. I had a topic I want to discuss. I don't want to keep everyone here for a long video. I tend to make long videos where I just yak on about everything, but I just wanted to get to the point of this one, and I found it very interesting. So, and it started with a tattoo that I had received. I got a tattoo done, and this tattoo was a gift certificate that I had been given for last Christmas from my boyfriend. And my old tattoo artist that I was going to has personal issues in his life, and so he's no longer at the place I was going to. So I had this gift certificate that I couldn't get refunded. Long story short, I ended up going to an individual. So my boyfriend is an artist. He paints, and he painted a painting of a non-binary individual, and their fiance is a tattoo artist at the same place. So I looked at their work, and I had the exact image that I wanted done, and so I thought, well, I'll just go to this person and spend the gift certificate there. So I decided to go to him, and so we did the tattoo, and it was fine. I thought it was a smaller space, and he wanted to do it all in one sitting, which seemed odd. It seemed like a lot for one sitting. And anyway, long story short, it ended up being a really, really intense healing process. Now, he knows that I'm transgender. We had discussed it. I had brought up the reason I had issues with my old tattoo artist, and the person he was dating was very transphobic and so on and so forth. And so I ended up, the tattoo artist told me things about that person. So anyway, he told me that the fiance that he's with is a non-binary individual. And so I found it interesting, and we had a small discussion. So anyway, in the healing process of my tattoo, I instead of admitting that he had overworked my tattoo, which it is a thing that tattoo artists do when they do too much in a small space. The skin can only handle so much, and so it's just incredibly painful process in the healing. It takes longer than needed. Sometimes there's scarring. It was pretty shitty. So I wouldn't admit it, and he kept, he told me what to do to heal it stuff, which is fine, and I didn't bring up the term overworking. But then he randomly writes me and asks me if I'm on hormones, and I was like, well, that's weird. I was like, why would he ask that? So I told him, well, yes, I've been on hormones for many years. And his response was like, well, as you know, hormones wreck your immune system, so that's probably why you're having healing trouble. And it was so strange. It was one of these things where I was like, what? So I couldn't believe he'd even brought it up. So I did even research of my own. I was like, did I not learn this or something? And it's not a thing. It's not a real thing. Actually, funny enough, estrogen actually boosts your immune system and testosterone weakens it. So my immune system should be better. He just couldn't admit, that he'd overworked the tattoo. So the individual that they are engaged to is a non-binary individual that basically, to be honest, looks just like a woman in every way, including the makeup and the fashion and the style. But they have short hair, and they wear more makeup than I wear. But they identify sometimes as he and him, or non-binary. But they no medication, nothing like that. So when they wrote me and they asked me about this hormone thing, I was like, well, they're engaged to someone who's non-binary. You would think they would know. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe I'm looking into this too much. But maybe the person they're with, that's their excuse for actually not transitioning, is that maybe they think the hormones are dangerous. And you don't have to transition with non-binary individuals. You can just expect people to use the correct pronouns that make you feel comfortable, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? So now we come to the topic that I wanted to discuss. Do we need to redefine what transitioning is? And the reason why I say that is because non-binary individuals, a lot of the time, sometimes they take hormones, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they look very masculine but they're actually transitioning, and they identify as non-binary. No, they don't sway either way with the scale or whatever. And so, yeah, a lot of non-binary individuals they expect society to change, but not themselves. And so to me, when I started transitioning a long time ago, it was a decision I had to make to change myself, to take estrogen, to take testosterone blocker, to transition into a woman. So I was changing into a woman. And I'm not one of these people that believed I was like, already a woman regardless of my hormone therapy and stuff. I believe hormones give you an experience, your mind changes, the experience of living your life as a woman. There's a lot to be said about actually living your life as the gender you identify as, than just identifying as them as you are, without actually transitioning. And so non-binary individuals, being trans has changed. It's changed. And the thing that's changed about it is that we expect society to change, but not us. And I can't agree with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting conservative as I get older. Maybe I'm just not as open-minded as I used to be. But I believe that when you identify as a transgender individual, you have to put forth some form of change. And it's not just, transitioning isn't just androgynous. Transitioning, because we've had androgynous people for centuries, people who dress in women's clothing, or men that that dress in stereotypical women's clothing of the time, because back in the day, heels were designed for men and so on and so forth. But in the time that they're in, you have fashion. It's fashion, and so we have a lot of people that are identifying as something because of their fashion, and so do we need to redefine what being transgender is? Do we need to separate non-binary individuals from being a transgender individual? Or is it that society needs to change and we don't have to put any effort into it whatsoever, and we have to bring up the topic all the time with people about who we are and what we identify as? I'd rather just not fucking discuss it. I'd rather just, that's like, I like to eat cheese. Being trans is about that important in my life. So when you get into conversations with people, having to discuss your whole background and their identity and so on and so forth just has to be exhausting for years, having to do that. And funny enough, I think a lot of people enjoy discussing themselves. I think they enjoy describing themselves. I used to. So I think maybe, is it a youth thing? So that's my question. Does society need to change? Is society transitioning, or are we transitioning? It's one or the other. Or is it a bit of both? Does society need to learn to accept trans people more? Or do non-binary people need to commit to a transition? Because I'm not going to lie, for a minute, I actually started getting off of testosterone blocker. And I've done this a couple of times, but I thought maybe I could have a little bit of, because I've never had surgery. I thought maybe I could I get a stronger libido back, and I could have benefits that come with testosterone. Oh no. Like, the moment my testosterone started coming back, leg hair started growing, facial hair started coming in again. It was like fast too. And that's just something I don't play with. So yeah, I'm back on my medication fully. Like, I was kind of teetering with the testosterone blocker. I was like, maybe I can lower it. And I was like, no, we're not messing with that. We're keeping our testosterone at the levels they should be. So in a way, transitioning, you kind of have to commit to the transition. You can't just be in the middle somewhere. And so anyway, that's my question. So I hope everyone's well. I hope you guys have a great holiday, and discuss it in the comments. I want to know what people think about that. All right, bye.